Hi there, Catherine here from greenthickies.com, and today I am sharing my 5 months on a ketogenic diet and my final thoughts. So, why did I go on a ketogenic diet in the first place? Well, this was because I was sick with chronic fatigue syndrome. I started reading some chronic fatigue syndrome books. For some reason I didn't go back to the diet that I'd been on the previous times. Well, I know why actually. It was because I had an infection in my implant, and I was a little bit worried that too much sugar would cause damage to my teeth and would not make my infection heal and would would cause further infections in the future. So I was a bit worried, and I forgot everything I learned basically about good health and started to panic and think, oh my goodness, what am I going to do now? I can't eat fruit, I can't do this, I can't do that. So I started reading books on chronic fatigue syndrome, and everywhere I seemed to read was that people were pointing to the ketogenic diet. It is definitely in fashion at the moment. It's a trendy thing to do, and it seems to be everywhere. And I thought, well, maybe it's worth giving it a go. Lots of people seem to be getting good results with healing on the ketogenic diet, so I'll give it a go. So did I enjoy the food? And I've got to say, at the start I did actually enjoy the food. I really enjoyed eating high fat plant food. I'm not really a fan of meat. I just don't really like eating it, so I would tend to just have one meal a day that was based on meat, and the other meals had a lot of plant-based fat in them. But and at the start I did really enjoy the plant-based fat, but after a couple of months of eating this way, I've got to say that I just could barely stomach the food anymore. Like, my body was just sending me signals that this is not what you want to be doing, and I ignored it, and I just kept on eating this fat all the time, and my body was craving lighter foods. Fruit, I ignored it. I thought, I can't eat too much fruit, it will not be good for my teeth, and I just carried on with ketogenic diet. So at the end I just got so sick of the food, I just couldn't stomach any more fat, to be honest with you. Now, what did I struggle with the ketogenic diet? And there's actually quite a few things that I struggle with, and no diet is perfect. There'll always be pros and cons of every diet, and this is what I struggled with the ketogenic diet. First of all, it's very, very complicated, and I bought all kinds of gadgets and gizmos and ketogenic blood meters and strips telling me whether or not I was in ketosis or not, and that's supposedly very important. If you're not in ketosis, then you're a big failure on the ketogenic diet. I'm being a bit melodramatic, because a lot of people who do it in a healthy way would say that actually the numbers don't matter so much. But most people on the ketogenic diet say, you have to stay in ketosis, otherwise you're not going to start burning fat as fuel, and that's our primary aim, is to switch from burning sugar as fuel to burning fat as fuel, and you're only going to feel better, lose weight, heal, whatever it is you're trying to do on the ketogenic diet. You'll only be able to do that when you're in ketosis, and that means making sure that you hardly eat any carbs at all so that you can get into ketosis. And then you've got to buy all these monitors to make sure that you're in ketosis, because what's the point in going through all the effort to stick to a strict diet if you're not going to be in ketosis? So you buy all these expensive meters as well. And I must admit that I bought some of these, the keto oils. So I bought some of those, I was taking those, and I did get into ketosis, even though I was eating quite a lot of carbs for a keto diet, because I could not give up my vegetables. And a lot of people say that you've got to go really low carb and give up your vegetables, or give up most of your vegetables to stay very low carb, and I just refuse to do that, because I know how healing plant food is for your body. Another thing that I found really hard is that it's not flexible at all. I mean, it is a very strict diet, it's a very extreme diet. When I was on the raw food diet, that was also a very extreme, strict diet, and I did struggle in the same way to eat out, be sociable. I found the raw food diet slightly easier because the food was much more simple. Like, you could tell somebody, I just need a big plate of fruit, or, you know, I just need a salad and maybe a couple of bananas. And most people understand that, you know, you can go to a restaurant and you can ask for that type of food, you can ask for a salad, and it's easier to stick to a raw food diet. And there's raw food restaurants. You can go to a vegan restaurant, you can usually find raw food. So you can go to a supermarket, a store, and you can buy, you know, plates of fruit. You can buy fruit already chopped up, you can buy grapes, bananas, whatever it is you want to buy in a hurry. On a raw food diet, you can buy that. Whereas on a ketogenic diet, I just did not have a clue what to buy. So I had to be even more organised than I ever was, and travelling is completely out of the question on a ketogenic diet as far as I'm concerned, because I didn't eat dairy because I'm intolerant to dairy, so that rules out a big food group in the ketogenic diet. And I'm not so keen on meat either, and when I do eat meat, it was you know, pasture raised meat, and you can't usually buy that in standard stores or in restaurants or anything. But if I did order, you know, a big slab of meat, I wouldn't have liked it, because I used to hide my meat in sauces and stuff because it's the only way I could tolerate eating it. So I tried going out and just ordering a slab of meat, and I just took one look at it and I just couldn't even eat any of it. I couldn't stomach the thought of it. It was just looked disgusting. So that was a big fail, was the sociable aspects. Unless I took my own food with me, I tended to make kind of dips out of nuts and take some cucumbers, which probably is too high carbs anyway. So yeah, that was very difficult, was the social aspect of it. Another problem was that I was just craving fruit all the time. Like, I went to see a naturopath and she said, have you got any cravings? And I said, just watermelon. I'm dreaming of watermelon night and day. And I was trying to put it to the back of my mind. But what I've come to learn is, if you are craving junk food, then that's an addiction. That's it's not your body trying to tell you that you need junk food in your life. You need something different to junk food, because nobody needs junk food. But if you're craving something natural, like especially fruit and vegetables, then it usually is a sign that your body needs that. So I should have listened to my body, and I should have eaten some watermelon, because that's probably exactly what my body needed. And another problem is, I tried to make green thickies, which are my complete meal green smoothies for my family, and I would put lots of coconut oil and some nuts and avocado, mainly kind of plant-based fats, and a small portion of berries like blueberries or strawberries, and maybe some stevia to sweeten it up. And I didn't mind them. I thought they were okay. They weren't absolutely delicious. They weren't the nicest thing I've ever tasted, unlike my normal green thickie recipes that are really sweet and nice because they've got loads of fruit in them. So I was kind of missing my normal green thickie recipes, and my kids just really wouldn't eat them. They ate one of them, I think, and then they just wouldn't eat the rest of them at all. They just refused them. And when I started making my normal recipes again, they started eating them again. So I'm really happy that now my kids are eating fruit again, and before they were not really drinking my green thickies, so they weren't getting the leafy greens or any of the other goodness that was in the green thickies. Another thing I found, that the ketogenic diet, I was having to buy lots of very expensive products. Fat is very expensive, especially when you want it to come from a healthy source. So everything's organic, everything's pasture raised, everything is more expensive, and especially fats and expensive oils that I was going through very, very quickly. I was buying loads more coconut oils than I usually would, and it was all adding up because it is more expensive than anything else. I was buying lots of expensive sweeteners like erythritol, and making things like, because I was craving sugar so badly from, you know, I was probably because it was the fruit that I was craving, I was making things like these homemade chocolates, but healthy ones, just sweetened with sugar or erythritol and the cacao butter, and all that was quite expensive as well. Another problem was that I was still having ongoing health problems, and it just didn't seem to really get that much better. The only slight improvement I noticed was when I started drinking this liquid vitamin, and I'll probably do another video just on that vitamin, but I will link to it during on the blog post that's related to this video. And that was called Liquid Gold Vitamin, and it's a drink, and it's based on whole foods, so it's all whole foods, plant-based ingredients. And when I started drinking that, I did notice a slight improvement every single day when I started drinking that, and that was the only thing I noticed an improvement on. The rest of the time I was just sluggish, exhausted. I still had the chronic fatigue. My health problem was my digestion was really, really awful and very, very sluggish, and I was having brain fog and just wasn't feeling very good at all. And when I went to a hypnotherapist who said you're now healed of chronic fatigue, and I did feel like my chronic fatigue went, but I felt fatigued like a normal person. Like somebody, you know, all your friends, I mean, maybe you're the same, but all your friends might say to you, oh, I'm so tired, I'm so tired. And that was a kind of normal, like you can drag yourself through the day because you have to, not like chronic fatigue where you literally can't move. But you're tired and you can drag yourself through the day, but you don't feel good, you don't feel right, you don't feel energetic, you don't feel like happy, full of life. I just didn't feel any of that at all. I did not feel right, and I thought, what is happening here? Because, you know, I've stuck to this strict diet, a gluten-free diet, strict whole natural food for 5 months now. And in the past, when I've stuck to very strict diets, it's been a minimum of 1 month and a maximum of 3 months until I was completely back to, you know, full energy, full boundless, you know, energy, life, vitality, feeling myself. And I just wasn't feeling that after 5 months. So I just thought something's not right here. It's just, I'm just not, you know, I'm just still feeling wiped out, and it's just not, I've got problems with my cycle and everything gets worse at different times of the month, and it's just, I just wasn't feeling right at all. And I just thought, I don't know, I just don't think this diet is for me. So a question you might be asking me is, did I lose any weight on the keto diet? Because that's what most people go on the keto diet for. And the answer is no. It stayed pretty much the same, and went slightly up, a few pounds up, a few pounds down, up, down, as it usually does. And no, I didn't lose any weight. I wasn't trying to lose weight because I was so sick. I needed to keep my energy levels up. I had very, very low blood sugar for a few months on a diet, and I think this was just because I was feeling so sick. I was having to eat every few hours, and that wasn't like me at all before that. I could, you know, manage to go from one meal to another before I went on the keto diet, and I didn't have any blood sugar levels before I got sick. So I just couldn't, you know, I just wasn't thinking about weight loss at all. I wasn't trying to lose weight. I was just trying to keep my blood sugar levels stable. So no, the answer is I didn't lose weight. It didn't naturally fall off. I just ate until I was full up, and I didn't eat any more. I didn't feel like I needed to eat more because I wasn't, you know, it's hard to overdose on fat. So, well, I find it is anyway. So I just stopped when I was full up, and no, I didn't lose any weight. And for me, the thing is, would I recommend keto to my clients or to my friends? And the answer now is probably no, but it depends on what else you've tried first. I think most people, unfortunately, do keto completely unhealthily, and that's the reason why I wouldn't recommend it, because most sources out there are based on eating junk food, basically, in my opinion, just like loads of dairy, loads of junk food meats, and that to me is just not a sustainable, healthy diet. And yes, you might lose weight in the short term, but there's plenty other ways to lose weight, and plenty other easy ways to lose weight. So why choose that method just because you like the food? Probably because, you know, everybody likes to make a pizza just out of cheese, you know, for the base, and then more cheese on top, and then some meat on top of that. So, you know, why wouldn't you want to eat like that if that's the way you normally eat? So yeah, it's probably, it appeals to people because it's tempting, because you don't have to move away from so much junk food if you do it the standard way. But I would say that I wouldn't I just wouldn't recommend it doing that way at all. Now there's a couple of people who do it in a very healthy way, and one of them is Leanne Vogel, and if you want to get her resources you can go to greenthickies.com/start keto, and I really like her approach because she uses whole foods in her ketogenic diet, and I really enjoyed her recipes. They include vegetables, they don't include dairy, the meat is from healthy sources, she cares about organic and healthy forms of oils and things. So I really like her approach to the ketogenic diet, but most people are leading you up the garden path when it comes to the ketogenic diet, because I just don't think that it's generally very healthy, unfortunately. The advice that I would give to anybody who is sick and considering a diet for health reasons, I would say to them, listen to your body, try different things and listen to your body and see how you feel on different diets, because I know that my body, it wants fruit. It's been sending me that message for a long time, and it was my own fault. I didn't remember how good I felt. I didn't do enough research to know that the teeth problem didn't have to be an issue, and I'll do a different video on that. But if you eat enough leafy greens, which I do because obviously I keep drinking my green Thickies, which have loads of leafy greens in them. So if you eat enough leafy greens, you get enough minerals, you get loads of calcium, and your teeth are protected, and the fruit is actually good for your teeth as well. So you just have to not brush your teeth straight after fruit meals so that you don't wear away the enamel. But I've done videos on protecting your teeth when you drink smoothies, so go and look at those on my YouTube channel. And yes, so for me, I listen to my body, and my body is screaming out for me to eat fruit. And I blocked it and blocked it and blocked it, and then I prayed and I said, God, tell me which diet is right for me, because I am so sick of this. I'm so sick of feeling this bad. I just want to get my life back. And he said, you already know what diet is right for you, and you're just not listening, you've forgotten, and you're going off on the latest fad because you've been brainwashed and told that fruit is bad for you, and it's not. So that is my lesson. And if you ever see me posting another video that says I'm trying a new diet, then stop me and say, stop it, you know what's good for you, just stay with what you know works for you, because you've proven it 3 times now in a row for long periods of time that high fruit works for me. So yeah, just listen to your body, try different things, pray about it. Don't believe everything you read on the internet, because it's not always what's right for you. But I think leafy greens are definitely right for everybody without a doubt. I just can't imagine why anybody would want to not include leafy greens in their diet, and in my opinion fruit too, but a lot of people's mindset will stop them from eating fruit, unfortunately. And after a couple of months of eating keto, even my meat-loving husband was saying to me, I think I might go vegetarian, maybe I'll actually go vegan. And that was just a complete shock to me. I never thought I would hear those words coming out of his mouth. And lately I have been making some plant-based meals, and I've moved away from the fat, and we've all been loving it. Everyone has been so enjoying this food, because I think we just had so much fat that we just couldn't cope with it anymore. So that is my one and only experiment with the ketogenic diet, and hopefully the final episode when it comes to the ketogenic diet. I never say never, because you never know, I might change my mind. I tend to do that, but at the moment I don't plan to ever go back to the ketogenic diet. So let me know what your thoughts are. Have you tried it? Do you not want to ever try it? What kind of diet is right for you? Let me know in the comments, and take care. And oh, one thing before you go, if you want to share this message with other people who may be struggling with their health and health problems, please share this video, like this video, subscribe to my YouTube channel. And if you want to get the diet that has worked for me, that will work for me, that I always keep going back to time and time again, and I created my own meal plan, so I was a bit silly not to follow my own meal plans. But if you want to know what I'm doing now, then you can get a free month of meal plans by going to greenthickies.com/leaf system, and that's my meal plans and my whole system there that I'm going straight back to. So take care, and I will see you soon. Bye!